That is the energized plasma inside a magnetic field, which releases energy, nuclear energy, that we can turn into electricity and power, and all the promise is in logistics and mobility. I have 0 minutes remaining, and thank you very much for your morning attention. Go energized off into the day.
So we started this morning hearing about something about fusion energy and bringing the future in a very difficult, large, regulatory-rich environment that needs reform. Obvious parallels to healthcare. Did it strike any bells?
You know, getting our head around that idea that we actually have to do the innovation internally and take input from the outside before we can come up with something that can be properly and clinically piloted. I think it took us a little bit of time to get our head around how we do that, but I think it's been an important part of the evolution of our business, certainly.
I think that's a very important concept. I think we too are finding exactly the same type of thing where we in fact have to own more of that and find different avenues fundamentally in which to iterate through the cycle, because no matter how much with these organizations as they are, not to any fault of their own, but it's just very, very difficult. So what are the different venues by which you can actually do some very rapid iterations? Because you talked about a year-long cycle. That's too long. Like we got to talk about 2 months, 3 month cycles, right?
Do three, 4 releases a year.
Cycle,
exactly, right? I mean, that's the iteration cycle you need.
When I say we go through 10-day sprint cycles, my clients who are these large insurance institutions just have jaw-dropping reactions. And I need to do a lot of messaging to help them understand how this is going to be beneficial and what those iterative rollouts are going to be, and how do we communicate that to our clients, but then also the end users, who in my case are consumers.
Yeah, I think that's something that the healthcare space is starting to get their head around. I think for a long time, and still in a lot of quarters now, still they associate those rapid cycles that you see in the consumer space with imprecision, with high failure rates, with unmanaged processes, with risk, with the wrong kind of risk.
Yep.
But I think that as we're starting to show that we can actually adapt these agile processes for healthcare, I think you see a lot more confidence that you can actually produce things that can go into clinical trials effectively, efficiently, can get through MedReg, and can produce good results.
And the technical part and the science part, you want to do those fast cycles, and that's great. You have to be able to do your decision making, your bureaucracy part, at that same rate if you want it to be an organic feedback.
Yeah.
Otherwise you get ahead and you can get beyond where your approvals need to be. You can scare off your investors, you could alienate yourself from your consumers or your funders. So what kind of, is that change happening fast enough? And that's definitely a challenge we face.
Never.
It's not happening fast at all, let alone fast enough.
Do we have any ideas?
Well,
how do you get that process in the technical process, maybe?
My intuition is there's a generational change that needs to happen inside the MedReg teams at healthcare systems and pharmaceutical companies. They've been the gatekeepers that have primarily their function has been to prevent things from happening that would be bad.
Risk averse.
Rather than to
So
be
you can't go too fast.
rather than facilitating good things
And
to happen.
that's also an issue of incentives, right? No one's incentive necessarily to take a risk.
Sure.
Right.
On the contrary.
Yeah, exactly. So in large organizations, this is exactly what happens. So the question is, how does the institution start thinking about how do they support and actually reward people taking a risk? And that is a very core, change that has to happen. It's how you change incentive structures.